Hey everybody, and welcome back to another. Well, actually, this is the first time we've done this.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not another.
welcome to the only so far, and maybe probably won't be the only one. I hope. I hope we do one next year too. Of the best and worst of 2022. I should probably say worst and best because we're gonna do worst first and then best last. I think that should be the way that it
Okay,
gets done because save the best for last, right? So,
sure.
um, so with that being said, let's get this show going. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm with
John Ward and Boris.
Boris. Boris came. That's nice. I had
Okay.
my dog for a second, but he just ran off, so who knows what he's doing. Um, all right. So let's go. We'll go and uh, do you want to do runners up after we get to like
Yeah, yeah.
almost the last or whatever?
Dishonorable mentions should be
Just
last. Yeah,
honorable mentions or yeah. Well, or honorable mentions if it's a best.
yeah. No, yeah. If it's
However, I
best,
will
it's
tell you I don't
honorable.
have any for the worst. I don't have any honorable
No,
mentions
no.
for the worst.
Oh, I do.
I know. I'm sure you do. Okay. So I'm gonna go and then you'll go and then I'll go, then you'll, that kind of thing, right? So for number five, worst film of 2022, I said Meet Cute. I don't know if you've seen that movie or not, but
Meat cute.
yeah, it's a movie with Pete Davidson and Kaylee Cuoco, and it's about a guy who uh he's basically or she's basically a time traveler.
Oh,
She
I saw the
time
commercial for
travels
that.
and
Okay.
then ends up, and it's kind of like Groundhog Day where she does the same day over and over again trying to get him to fall in love with her or whatever, and it never ends up right and whatever. It's romantic, but it's really dark and depressing and was kind of the reason I put it as last of my like least favorite is because it wasn't awful, to the point where I could never watch it again or something, but I probably still wouldn't want to watch it again. It's just too depressing and not fun.
Okay.
Yep. So what about you? Number five.
Well, mine, I didn't know that we were going actually in a particular order, so I just wrote mine down as I thought of them. So it's not necessarily that this is the absolute worst, but my number five is the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the
Mm,
Netflix one.
interesting.
So you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's actually on my list too, but not there.
yeah,
Not.
it's one of the most obnoxious, annoying films I've ever seen. I don't know if it's meant to be woke or not. I don't know if this
It
thing
was
is made.
confusing because I think they were trying to make it woke while not making it woke, and I think that's the big problem of the movie.
Yeah, it's almost like, did conservatives make this to kind of rip on woke people, or did woke people just fail in criticizing everybody else? Because the lead girl in this is so fucking annoying
Hmm.
that I was happy to see her die. and
Yep.
and the stupid electric car at the end, sorry, that's not how those work. And Leatherface's mask looks awful,
Hmm.
and they should have played up on the fact that he's supposed to be old.
Yep.
And and I don't mind having back the final girl from the original,
Right.
but just
But it was
do
not even the same
something.
actress, and it,
I don't mind them having another actress player, just to get, since the other original is dead,
right.
but just play, but just do something more than just have her get killed.
Hmm.
Then why bother having her in this?
I
I'm
agree.
I you know I'm a Democrat, and I actually felt sorry for the redneck, because the really annoying, obnoxious woke girl, criticizes his penis for no reason at all.
No, no.
They start everything with this stuff. And then the black guy looks at the Confederate flag, and he can't get it down. And so then the redneck guy goes up and takes it down and says all you had to do was ask.
Right.
It's like, if you're trying to make a point, you're I'm actually siding with Leatherface. I'm siding with the rednecks. And I want to
Exactly.
see all these people die. So it's it's like, the film just confused me, and I think I would probably rather watch this than just Leatherface, the prequel,
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, so that would be my number five.
All right. So number four for me is another horror film. Nope. Was not a fan. Was not a fan of that movie. And the more I thought of it and the more I started to like think about it and stuff, the more angry I got on it. Just
Really?
sort of was and I love Jordan Peele, don't get me wrong. I loved Get Out. I thought Us was okay, you know. Um but this was terrible to me. Like it just annoyed me to the point where I'm like, but then again, like I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you know,
I
I,
have, and I'm not going to say much because it's on my best.
that's funny. So you'll save it for your best. Okay. When
Yeah.
you say something. But no, I'm not. I was not a fan of Nope. So there you go. You're
Nope.
number four.
That would be a film that you liked, Clerks 3. I
That's on
hated
my
this movie.
best.
Yes, there we go.
See,
So
see that? There you go. Nope is on my worst. It's on your best, and Clerks 3 is on my best and is on your worst.
yeah,
You know.
I thought it was. I watched it twice. I thought it was absolutely horrible. You and I did our one filmmaker thing.
Yeah, but
My
we both,
opinion.
we both had different opinions on it, which is
Yeah,
is fine.
and I thought it was horribly made and horribly written. And I think Kevin Smith is there's mentally he's there's something mentally wrong with him. Because of events that have happened in his life, and I think that Clerks 3 is a step backwards, especially from Clerks 2, which looked much more professional. It's I did not like anybody in this movie at all. I it's wrong. Nope. It's
All right.
it's
I'll
almost like
say
a
my opinions on it when, it gets to
okay.
my thing, but
Yeah,
just
it
like,
felt like a Kevin Smith fan film to me from people who don't know Kevin Smith.
all right. Well, there you go. Um, so my number three is Texas Chainsaw, which we just talked about a little bit, and
God.
I was not a fan of. I agree with everything you said. The redneck guy, I kind of felt sorry that he was even involved with these
And
freaking annoying kids.
the woman that had that building, that like
Yeah,
orphanage.
like
How these fucking millennials or whatever they are at this point who want to throw her out when she legally owns it. They
yep,
don't even give her a chance to find the paperwork to prove to them. It's like, nope, you're out,
nope.
get out.
That's gonna be
And
the
that's
the
why
running theme of this like
nope.
worst stuff. Nope.
It's just and then all the people on the bus, and you got like the Asian guy who goes, hey, watch it, man, you're gonna get canceled. Fuck you and your canceled bullshit. That is so going the opposite direction
Tar
these days.
Tarantino recently said in a podcast that I heard where he said that this is McCarthyism, but it's worse because we're canceling each other. Like it's not even that like just Hollywood is canceling you or whatever, like the studios. It's literally we're doing that. So sucks. All right.
Yeah.
You're number three.
Halloween ends.
I'll fuck, I forgot to put that on there. Okay. Oh God, I don't know why that happened.
Well,
Oh
you said you don't
Jesus.
have any dishonorables, so there you go.
No,
There's your
no,
dishonorable.
I'm gonna kick off Meet Cute. Oh fuck. All right.
But wait, but you
Yeah,
already
no,
said
that's
meet
high
cute
up
though.
there. Holy shit.
I hated this movie. Sadly, I will own it because I'm a completist. And I already own the first two. I actually, weirdly enough, like it better than Kills because I can't stand that whole fucking Evil Dies Tonight shit. Um, I kind of understand, I guess, what they were going for, since people had pointed out that the credits were the Halloween 3 credits. That this is the third one. This would be the Halloween 3 of that trilogy, which I guess would make sense because you have Halloween 1, Halloween 2, then Halloween 3. So then this is part 3. But I don't like your no, we wanted a good ending. And to me, this wasn't it wasn't a really good ending. So we got some lame fight where I'm sorry, I don't care. Laurie would not be able to defeat Michael, even if he is that freaking old. He's like some entity, to throw him down onto a table and get knives into him and pull a refrigerator. You know how heavy a refrigerator is, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's full of stuff. I'm not buying it
Mm-mm.
one bit.
Mm-mm.
And I love these guys too. I mean, I'm a
I love David
huge
Gordon Green. I
I
love
love his stuff. I love Danny McBride.
Danny
I'm a
McBride.
huge fan of their TV shows that they do.
Yeah. It's just
And
they
it
can't do horror and they're gonna do The Exorcist and they're gonna fuck it up. And
yeah.
I'm just so over this crap of like we've gotta change the way, whatever. Like you're not doing anything except ruining the franchises,
Well, that's what they say now with Velma is that Mindy Kaling has actually done a miracle. She has made history. She has brought the left and the right together in hating something that both of us now can agree on.
Huh.
And because that show is so hateful and there's now a conspiracy theory going around that Mindy Kaling is actually a conservative and she wrote this to criticize woke people when she wants it's kind of like Texas Chainsaw where she meant to do the opposite. So it's also like James Cameron is now going, oh well, I cut 10 minutes out of gunplay out of Avatar 2 and you got to you shouldn't be like a toxic male and and I now own the rights to Terminator and I'm thinking of rebooting the series but it's going to be really different.
Oh
Really, Mr.
God,
Gun Guy?
female Terminator again? I hope not.
Everybody, it's like, dude, your entire career is based on guns.
Right.
And he is a massive womanizer. He screwed every actress that he worked with, and it's like, what, now all of a sudden you have a come to Jesus moment?
Um,
So
uh,
it's these filmmakers just they don't know what they're doing. They're insane.
all
And
right.
and I think Halloween Ends shows a lot of that crap.
I agree. All right, so here's the problem. So now I've kind of fucked my whole system up. So I've got to mention my third
Well,
is a
start from the beginning then, and then we'll
so
work.
okay, the first the fifth one is Nope.
Okay,
Fourth one is Texas Chainsaw
okay,
now. The third one is gonna be Black Adam because I fucking hated that movie.
okay. So
Um,
that's
I
okay. So let's talk about that.
yeah, we'll talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
Black Adam just pissed me the fuck off.
and
It
you're the
was
comic book guy.
And I'm a comic book guy, but it pisses me off because I even was mentioning to you these things like, first of all, if he was from like 500,000 years ago or whatever it was, like so many years ago, then why the hell can he like does he just speak English properly and no slang?
I never thought about that until you brought it up, and it was like, yeah, there should have been a scene of him like looking at posters or like there's a book and he like quickly goes through the book to learn the
Well,
language
how's he
because
to
he's
even like read that language? It's English. He didn't
but
speak
well
English back then.
I guess that considering he's a god, I guess so, but you would
He's not
still
a
have
god. He
to.
was not a god. That was the whole point of the movie was he was not actually a god. He was the son of somebody who was supposed to be or the father of somebody who was supposed to be the new god or whatever. And then he took
Oh
it
yeah, there's that
over because
twist.
it's,
Yeah.
whatever. So it was just bullshit. It was a stupid
Well,
movie and it was in the works since 2008 and they finally made it, because, The Rock's been pushing and finally I guess they caved in and let him do it. And it was just it was BS, like it
well,
was a terrible movie.
my thing is that I think if the film bombed because it's and I mentioned this to you that it's not set in America.
Right.
Why does somebody who live in America care about some third world country? They
Right.
don't. Set it in LA, Chicago, New York,
Well, have it
something
like to
like
begin
that.
there, like it can begin at that country and then come back to
Yeah,
America,
he's from
you
there
know.
and then it
Yeah,
goes
then they
over to
fly him out to America to help,
yeah,
whatever.
because we don't because if Superman does exist in this, which means Metropolis exists, which then
Right.
means Gotham exists.
Right.
So it's and that's another thing that annoys me is, with how much The Rock pushed to get, Superman in this, and then I heard that he then like threw, Henry Cavill under the bus, and then he started lying about how much the film made, and then he finally came clean and said, yeah, it's a bomb. And then he started criticizing the fans when everybody thought that he was all
I know.
about the fans.
Like,
And then the people who made Shazam 2 said, hey, since you're part of the same universe, because they got the same lightning bolt,
and they
can
say
you be in?
Shazam in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you be in Shazam 2? And The Rock's like, I'm better than Shazam. I don't want to
He
be
is
in your movie.
Shazam. Like it's Shazam,
Yeah. So
whatever.
now we're finding out that The Rock's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of happy that it didn't, and that he had secret meetings with David Zaslav to basically take over DC and
I'm
make
glad
Black
that didn't
Adam
happen. Like, I
the
know you're
top
mad that
guy.
James Gunn kind of is changing a lot of things, and we'll get into that. We're actually doing a superhero conversation soon on
Yeah,
John Ward's channel. So
that's right.
get ready for that. But yeah, we I just I DC has always pissed me off. I've just hated DC. I'm a Marvel guy, 100%. So like D this just irked me. But that was my number three. And my number two is actually a Marvel movie. So go figure. The only Marvel movie that I absolutely hated with a passion this
No, no, of
year,
course. Come on, come on, come on.
um, which was Morbius. And
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that
actually
is
just
on a
thought
list of mine.
I can actually have another runner up for like worst of the year. But it didn't make my top five list. So yeah, so Morbius. I hated Morbius. I don't know if you saw it
It's
or
bad.
not,
I
but
did. It's bad.
yeah, it's terrible. And it's not it had such a cool idea, and I think the biggest problem I have with the movie is it's short. It's 90 minutes, which is fine. Some people like you love that. You would love that. Like you're like, "Oh man,
I
90
do, but
minutes is perfect."
not if it's for cutting plot. I mean,
Right.
all they did was leave in the action, and I
They
love
I
Matt
don't feel like
Smith.
they left in the action. I felt they left in a lot of talking and
Well,
science shit that
they
bored
left in
me.
enough for us to understand to a point of what was going on, but then it was just boom, 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 and like the stuff with Matt Smith, who I love because I love Doctor Who to a point, and uh, I love seeing that he's getting a lot of work.
Right.
But I didn't understand anything with Matt Smith, which is why I think they cut out a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but that is on my list, so I'll keep some of my opinions to myself when that one comes up. So
Okay.
yeah,
Number two.
that would be. It just gets worse. Jurassic Park Dominion.
Chris Pratt.
One, I don't like Chris Pratt.
I
Um,
don't
and
mind him.
and I don't think he's a leading man. I don't think he's an actor. I don't think he's good looking. He just looks like a
He's kind
dumb
of funny to
lug.
me. I don't know. I like his humor. I don't know.
I hated him on Parks and Recreation, which is one of the reasons why I stopped watching it. Billy Eichner was the other reason. I can't. I rewatched. Um, I started to rewatch Parks and Recreation once I saw that it was up on streaming, and I thought, okay, well, let me just watch it from beginning to end because I never finished it. And I'm like, fuck, he's throughout the entire thing. He's there from
Yeah,
like
I didn't
episode
watch it.
one to
I
the
just
end.
I don't care about the Jurassic World anymore. Like I lost interest. I went to see the first Jurassic World or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, you know.
I
So I never
love
saw the
Jurassic
next
World.
one. I didn't see the next one, and then I'm definitely not going to see this one.
I loved
So,
part one. Part two was and then part three I really liked. Of course, got Sam
oh
Neill
wait,
in it.
which one was part two the one with the dinosaur being left on the island? Or was that the first one? Where they like left the island and then like it was all exploding or something, and you kind of had like
No, that's
there's one.
Dominion,
Which one is that?
the last one.
Though this one,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, that was Fallen Kingdom or something, right?
No, fallen. They Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's Fallen King.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so I
Fallen
saw
Kingdom.
that
Yeah.
one. I saw that one,
Oh, good.
and
You saw one of the worst ones.
yeah, and I think that was like that was the one that changed like, and I think I'd seen Jurassic World and I thought it was okay, but it wasn't, like the problem is you need Steven Spielberg back, like I feel like he had the
I would
magic.
say they need good writers, but well, no, because he made part two. Lost World is not very good. He
Enjoyed a
made it for a
lot. I
cash grab.
enjoyed the part where he like the dinosaurs were taking over like San Francisco or something or whatever it was, and they're like all the
Oh, they're taking
dinosaur
over
the
like Burbank.
yeah, the was it the dinosaur comes up there and the Tyrannosaurus Rex comes and the kid's like, "Mommy, there's a dinosaur
Not
outside."
happy that he ate a dog, but I am happy that he ate David Kep,
Yeah.
who
Anyway,
I do
anyway,
like.
I enjoyed that
But
one.
yeah, it's very hit and miss. Like I said, one I liked, two was I hate stuff that deals with kids, and I don't know why every movie has to have freaking kids in it. But I liked part one, part two was okay. I liked part three. Loved Jurassic World. I thought, okay, cool, we're back. And then Fallen Kingdom, they got themselves in a corner once again, dealing with a stupid kid, and then we find out in that the the daughter of the second scientist that we never heard of did a clone of her
Hmm.
is better. So this once again, it's them saying women are better than men. So they're retconning the genius of the original creator to then say that the mother, who's now the clone, is even better. And it's like, fuck, come on, can we just stop this? Can
Hmm.
we please just stop? If you want to do a clone because you miss your daughter, that's fine. But then why do you all of a sudden have to go, oh yeah, she was a brighter and better doctor for no reason, the person we've never met before. And then the
Yeah,
stupid kid lets all the dinosaurs out.
right.
I mean, you have Jeff Goldblum in the movie going, they should all die. And then Dominion is she's then the clone just becomes just a brat who you don't want to deal with. And it's a stupid movie. It's a horrible movie. Dominion sucks. It's probably the worst out of all of them. It is horrible.
There you go. Um, so that's why you're second least favorite.
Yeah,
And my
I think my first, yeah, in some ways the order that I did it maybe is that way. It's kind of how I thought because the first one, yeah, it's definitely would be my number one.
okay, so our runners up before we get into our number one, and I will say that other than the Meet Cute movie, which I explained, my other runner up would be Thor: Love and Thunder, which I was very disappointed in. I thought it was going to be a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. It got very woke in that, to the point where I was just, like I enjoyed like the Guardians stuff in the beginning and kind of wished it had more of that in it. I did not like Natalie Portman coming back like this. I didn't like her taking over as Thor. I thought it was just obnoxious at times, and I was just not a fan of any of that stuff. But I didn't find it to be like the worst movie of Marvel or anything to me. Like it was just like I was expecting better because I loved Ragnarok a lot. And I thought, oh, okay. And the director, Taika Waititi, has done amazing stuff. You know what I mean? Like this should have been a lot better. But once again, I think a lot of it had to do with the writing, and a lot of it had to do with they gave Taika way too much creative control,
Control.
and he fucked it up. And that's why he's not going to be. There's they aren't even going to do a Thor for a while. Like I think they're taking a break on Thor, and Chris Hemsworth at one point had decided he was just going to go back home, where his family lives and everything. I forgot where they are, but like he's going to go there and just spend some time and just get away from this colossal mistake that they sort of made with Thor: Love and Thunder, which whatever, you know. So I think it was a mistake, but I did not once again, I didn't hate it as to the point where I could never watch it again. I might watch parts of it because I really did love, I love some of the cinematography and some of the fight scenes were fun, enjoyable. But like, and Christian Bale was so misused. Like they really didn't do anything with him. They ended up, kind of cutting him down to like this. And he's a god. He could like he was a god killer. He should have been so much cooler, or whatever. But they fucked it up. So whatever. So anyway, what are your runners up?
Well, I will. I'm going to shift one. So then, because I have Thor: Love and Thunder, so I'm going to pop that one up one just so we can continue the conversation on it. And yeah, I thought out of the Disney films that or Marvel films that I did watch, I thought this one was probably the worst one. Um, the visual effects were awful.
Hmm.
Thor is now an idiot. He's a buffoon.
Yeah,
He's
he's a
Gilligan
buffoon.
from Gilligan's Island. How many times do we need to see Thor rediscover himself? Um, how I mean, it's I hated the Natalie Portman stuff. Uh, I love once again we have to bring in a female, and just like She-Hulk, who's better than the male for no reason. She-Hulk had, and if we had a best and worst of
Television.
TV, She-Hulk would
Yeah,
be number one.
She-Hulk might be on my list too of
Yeah, it
TV
would
because
definitely be number one for me.
oh
And
wow, that's not my
it's
number
these
one, but it would probably be a runner up, I think, or something. I don't even think it'd be on the list of five,
well, you basically so now we have
maybe.
like every Marvel character now has a female version of that. And
Right.
there's no good reason to do that. So with Thor, so she goes to the hammer because she has cancer, and then we cut away. Thor's doing this big fight, and then all of a sudden the hammer kind of comes to him, and then it gets pulled back into her hands.
Hmm.
I don't know why she's now. I used to
The
read
Hammer
Thor, but
has
that was a
chosen
long
her
time
instead
ago.
of him.
Well, because she's better. So now a female Thor who's had no training at all, when the male Thor has had centuries,
Hmm.
lifetimes of training. We even see him at one point as a little kid, like running through the woods, and he ages, and he gets older and older. He has had millions of years of training to do what he can do. She's been Mighty Thor for 2 seconds. And she
Hmm.
could do, they do have her mess up like twice, but I
Right.
think that's just to make people not complain. But oh well. But I hated her. She didn't work out for the film. Her
Right.
muscles are all CGI, while Chris Hemsworth did work out for the film. And what I think what should have been done is she has cancer. When she puts on the suit, the cancer goes away. When she
Hmm.
takes off the suit, the cancer comes back to her faster. So it's almost like she has to always be Mighty Thor. But then at the end realizes, no, I'm not Mighty Thor. Thor is Thor. And she takes the suit off and then dies of cancer. I would have done something more like that. And it's I yeah, and I thought yeah, Christian Bale is always good in what he does. The guy's a method actor. He's excellent. And he was, yeah, underused. He doesn't look like the character from the comic book. And they just made him look more human. I thought he did a good job for what they let him do.
Yeah, no, I have no complaints on Christian Bale himself, right? Like I felt like Christian Bale did as better of a job. I'm sick and tired of this, and you might disagree with me on this because you might actually like it, but I don't like it when they kill off potential characters that can be basically villains for later, for later on for but the future movies, future TV shows, whatever. Like right now they have that King the Conqueror, and he's gonna be like the big bad throughout the whole thing, right? But they've got Gore the God Butcher, who's only gonna be was only the big bad for that one movie, and
They could always bring him back. I mean,
I know it's Marvel. They
it's
can
look how
always
many
resurrect
times they
them.
brought back Loki. You know, how many times
And they
did Loki
probably
die?
might because they're doing Secret Wars, where there's going to be a bunch of people from the different multiverses, and so
God, they're
Gore
gonna
the
fuck
God
that
Butcher
up.
may be a bunch of you know, maybe a version of him from
Well,
whatever.
and just some of this is just on a political level that I don't need the director who I think is kind of a shit director anyways. I mean, that Jojo Rabbit, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's good. So maybe outside
Also, he did
of
what we do in the shadows. I mean, he's a prolific
so he's
filmmaker
done
and
good.
creator.
So it's almost like once you enter Disney, you suck.
No, because
And
Ragnarok was great, I think. Ragnarok had some amazing scenes.
Ragnarok was a one-time splash in the pan for this guy because all he did was then repeat what was in
Mm.
Ragnarok
No, he didn't.
in Love
That
and
was the
Thunder. Yeah, he did.
problem.
No, he did, but it failed. He has the play at the opening, just like Ragnarok. A lot of stuff is being repeated over and over, but it fails because he's not being controlled. And him going around going, oh, well, this is the gayest Thor movie ever made. Dude, really? Can't you just make a good movie? Does it have to be the gayest Thor movie ever made? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why people do
I
this.
mean, you could throw in gay stuff and
There's nothing
everything.
wrong with gay characters. There's nothing wrong with the gay story. There's
I mean,
nothing wrong
I
with any
like
of
the
that.
LGBTQ community being, in represented in films. It's just a matter of like exactly how you do it is the important part.
If look at
And
something like Modern Family, no one criticized. I mean, as I'm sure probably like Deep South Christians probably criticized it because they had gay characters. But for the most part, it was a massive show. The characters are beloved. You have one gay guy and a straight guy who's playing gay. And the show is going to go down in history as one of the greatest shows. Nobody sat there and complained.
all right.
And because it was a good show, it was a good story. But when you force it in, and purposely, I mean, come on, did when they're flying in space, does it really have to be the rainbow? Does it? Does that
No.
really serve a purpose in the film?
Nope.
No. So it's yeah. So I don't know because we're gonna go on because I'm gonna say repeat all this stuff for the superhero one anyway. So
Yep.
we might as
Yep.
well go to the next one.
Okay. So was that your only one, or
No. Oh no, I have
because
three.
remember I only had two, so and I
Do
just said
you?
both of them.
Can you think of a third? There's got to be something out there that
I I I don't know because like I've got to watch a bunch of movies this year and I'm doing that 365-day movie challenge, so I will try to be looking for a lot of newer movies and stuff, for 2023. But the thing is, I purposely a lot of times don't watch a movie that I have no interest in that I think is gonna suck, you know? So like Morbius, I had higher expectations for, but I shouldn't have because, it got screwed some, whatever. So things like that. And Black Adam, I knew I was not, I had a feeling I was not going to enjoy it because the previews just made me look like I was like, almost don't
I
care.
didn't hate it. It didn't make my list anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's
It's just,
it's
that's,
I
that's
don't.
funny. I like, it's funny when it doesn't make your list everywhere. It just means that you just thought it was okay, I guess,
Well, I mean, I know the comic book character. I know the what is it, the Justice Society or whatever it's called.
I
I
I I didn't even really know of the Justice Society,
yeah, like I was a fan of Doctor Fate, and so I used to collect Hawkman comics. So I like that those were brought to life. I didn't think it was horrible. I just think that more of what The Rock has done, where it was set, and I don't remember in the comic book if it's set there. Um, but it's not like I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It's just kind of in the
Um,
yeah, it's like in the middle.
All right. So what were your two?
Well, I do have Morbius as
Okay.
a dishonorable mention, and and I love that they released it twice to for it to bomb twice and for it to be
They
memes.
tried to bring it back to try to like hope that they could recoup money from it, but
Yeah, I think one of the big problems with it is Jared Leto. I think that he is now with the Jared Leto cult and all that type of stuff that just he's not likable. I don't think a lot of people like him. I think they used to like him until he became like a freaking
he was
weirdo.
great in Requiem for a Dream, and
He
I liked
was,
his
but that's before he
music,
became
and
weird.
yeah,
Well, yeah, and I was happy for him that when when he went off with 30 Seconds to Mars and he disappeared for like 3, 5 years, whatever it was, and then came back and won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. And he's
and what
like,
was
wow,
that
I
movie? What was
disappeared
that
for
movie for? It
that
was
was the transgender film that he did with
yeah,
Matthew McConaughey. I'm blanking on the
Dallas
name of it.
Buyers Club.
Yes, which I've heard is very good.
I have it.
And
I own it on Blu-ray. I don't think I've ever seen it. Just haven't
yeah,
yet.
at some point I would like to watch it. And I was happy for the guy. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. The guy disappears for like what was it, 3 to 5 years, and then he gets the Academy Award, and he thanks people for that on stage.
Yeah,
And so, but that's before he became weird, and then he became a weirdo with like, when he
the
did like,
Joker and
yeah, and he sent people like dead rats,
like
and he just became weird, and so now I think people just don't. I don't. I think they're just turned off by him, and so he's yeah, and he's and Morbius is not the comic book, and it's has elements of the comic book, but it's just not. It's horribly edited, and wasn't there an ending? Didn't they add something to the end?
I don't. Oh yeah.
Did
The post-credit
with
sequences
the
with
Vulture,
the Vulture, and
the Vulture
those
that's
other
that's
guys.
clearly not Michael Keaton, but it's his voice.
Yeah.
So
But he
yeah,
was in
so
it. He
so
was Michael Keaton was in like was there for a second of
he was in the jail.
he
Yeah.
was in the jail part. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to like it so bad, but just because I want Sony to be doing good, but then again I'm like Sony, you don't agree with this necessarily, but Sony, give your shit over to uh Marvel, give your shit over to
Oh, these days, yeah, I definitely
Disney.
do. Well, I don't know. I think either side would ruin it. So, but okay, because I don't want to say all my
Morbius, and what
stuff
was the
for
last one
coming. Well,
of your
did you say your two?
No, I remember, yeah, Meet Cute and
Oh, okay. My
the other one.
last one is a film on Facebook that people said, "Wow, this is scary. It's so good." No, it's not. Smile.
I haven't seen it yet. I kind of wanted to just to check it out.
It's really poorly written. It's kind of like Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, where it
Yeah,
looks
that's what I
like
was
they did
thinking.
some sort of like Snapchat with the grins.
Yeah, kind of like
Um,
remember Batman did that, first with Joker, the original Batman with Michael Keaton, Batman with Joker, like like making everybody's face go like that.
but at least it was the same prosthetic. This is now like a visual effect, and it doesn't look good. The lead actress in this, and I'm not trying to body shame. She is somebody's daughter. I forget who, but she looks like she needs to eat a sandwich. And I was actually disturbed while watching the whole film that you could see her collarbone. And when she wore like a low cut shirt, you could see her rib cage. You could see the bones in her arm.
Oh shit,
You
she's
could
Kevin
see,
Bacon's daughter.
yes. And you could see her jawline. She is so thin and so emaciated that I'm like, why did they hire her for this? Unless that's the reason, Kevin Bacon's daughter, nepotism. But it's like she's really uncomfortable looking in this. And every time somebody does the smile, it looks different. It's not the same. So they don't follow their own rules. It's just a horribly written movie. It just doesn't make sense.
That doesn't
And
sound fun at all.
but some people love it. Now, I will give credit to one thing for Smile. It made a buttload of money in the theater. And I'm happy about that because I'm happy these days when any horror movie makes a lot of money in the theater and something that's more big and mainstream doesn't. It just shows that horror has legs. So I'm happy that it made a lot of money, but I don't like the movie.
Totally. All right, now to our final one of the, and I'm guessing you can guess probably what my least favorite is. I haven't mentioned it yet, which is Halloween Ends. I totally forgot about the movie because I think I wanted to keep that out of my fucking head. And stuff. And I don't know why. Every time I kept looking up, movies from 2022, Halloween Ends wasn't even on anyone's lists
So wait, is
of
this part
stuff.
of your dishonorable?
No, this is this is my least favorite. I thought you would oh, are you still
Oh,
doing your
no, no, no.
dishonorable?
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you jumped right up to best. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
No,
yeah.
no, no. Oh, hell no.
Okay,
Halloween
that's
Ends
why I
is
was.
my least
Yeah,
favorite.
the segue was kind of weird to me. Okay, so go on.
No,
Okay,
this is my
so
least favorite.
okay.
Least favorite of the movies of all time. Worst movie of this year is Halloween Ends. Um, Everything you said pretty much. Also, some kid who gets beat up by band camp kids.
I still don't know if that's a joke. Two
I don't,
smart people made this movie. Is that
I
a
know.
joke?
And then they end up, and then he still can beat Michael Myers's ass, even though he can't beat those kids' asses. Well, like I don't understand any of that stuff. Like I don't understand this character. Like why did they introduce him now? Did they feel like they got caught in a corner somewhere where they felt like, okay, well, we can't do the same thing we did where, evil must die tonight, which um I thought Halloween Kills was terrible. This kills Halloween Kills. Like I'd watch Halloween Kills before I'd watch this one.
I think that they went along with like Star Wars, where people are now admitting that they never had a plan. That's why the Disney, trilogy is so bad. And I think that the same thing happened with this. I think
Well,
that they
and the worst part is
probably
it's not different filmmakers. Like at least with Star
no, that's
Wars, I can blame the fact that it was J.J. Abrams, then Rian Johnson, and then everybody
but
hated
Kathleen Kennedy is the thread, and all they had to do was before they made Force Awakens is come up with a
a couple of
storyline
story
for all three
Bible.
films,
No,
and they
story
didn't.
Bible, yeah.
But
Like
for these, I think that they probably went to, Green and McBride probably went to Blumhouse and said, "Hey, we would like to make a Halloween movie. This is our pitch." And Jason Blum is like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's great." They're like, "Perfect. We'll get it made for next year." And then they get a call, and Jason's like, "Why don't we make a trilogy?" And they're like, "But we don't have a story for the trilogy. We only have a story for the first one." I'm like, "Well, come up with something because it's going to be a trilogy." So they could come up with something for Kills. And now they're like, "Well, now what the fuck do we do?" Well, now we'll just do a Halloween 3. We'll just completely, you know,
yeah.
just go in an opposite direction. We know people are going to hate it, but we can't come up with anything else.
So anyway, I hated it, thought it was awful, just
Yeah,
made me angry when I watched it. And I watched it a second time and it even made me more
I
angry.
watched
I'm
it twice
just
too. Yeah.
I can't. I
No,
I don't think I could ever watch it again. And I am so angry. I'm going to boycott The Exorcist. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell people if you want, you know, and for my horror film lovers, I'm going to tell people like if you really truly want Blumhouse to do something different and better, don't go see this movie. Because if this makes money, they're gonna go, oh well, this made money. Let's make
yeah, but
you
they've
know,
been making bad stuff. They did Fantasy Island, Truth or Dare. This is all
yeah,
bad
but see,
stuff.
they've had enough, they have enough money where they can cut those as losses and then go and say, okay, well, we got David Gordon Green, we've got, Danny McBride, we've got, Jamie Lee Curtis back. This is gonna be a hit, right? And the first one, it's okay. I'm not gonna lie, it was
I
okay. It
love the
was
first one. I love
I
it.
didn't love it. I
Oh
thought it
my
was
god, I
okay.
thought it was the music, the
I
editing,
thought
everything. Yeah.
I thought I did not like Rena Rena Donald Pleasance. I hated him. But if you want to do a whole horror franchise Halloween thing or something someday, we can go into that. But I'm not gonna go into why, whatever, because it's not about Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends, terrible fucking movie. I really, you know, I just I don't want anything to do with that stuff anymore, and I won't watch Exorcist. So moving on.
I'll avoid Exorcist, but if I can watch it for free, maybe I will.
I
But
won't
that's
I won't
about
even watch
it.
it for
So
free because
yeah. So mine is Carpenter related. So it's kind of funny that both of our number ones are Carpenter related, and mine is Firestarter.
yeah, I keep wait. He had something to do with the Firestarter? I thought Stephen King
He
did
he did the
Firestarter.
music for it,
Oh, okay.
and it's awful. It is
The
awful.
music is awful or just the movie is
No,
awful?
the movie's awful.
Okay.
The music is not even interesting. Just like the music in Halloween Ends is not interesting.
Yeah.
It's just I think Carpenter just collecting a paycheck now. But it is interesting that he did the music for the new Firestarter because they asked him to do Firestarter back in the 80s.
Oh.
And he said no, and he ended up doing Christine. But this is I love the original Firestarter with Drew Barrymore. It does deviate from the book, which is fine. I mean, that's okay because it's a good movie. I like its visual effects.
I love the
Um,
original Firestarter. I haven't seen the new one. I should watch it. I'll
it's
probably be on my like worst too. I've heard
not
terrible
it's
things.
just not good. I would rather watch Firestarter 2 rekindled than watch the remake of Firestarter because
Nice.
this goes along with those. Who is this made for? What is the point? Charlie, the little girl with the powers, is just mean. I mean, she sets a freaking cat on fire, and we see it for no reason. The cat's just hanging out like in like a little junky area, and she goes to pet it, and it scratches her because the cat knows she's freaking evil, and then she sets the thing on fire, and it's just like, yeah, I hated this film all around. I only like a couple scenes in it where the people at the shop um actually wear the fire retardant suits with like the big helmets with like the like the plastic in here, and that I thought, and they have fire hoses, and I thought that was funny. That's the only thing I liked was that part of it. Otherwise, it's absolutely horrible, absolutely horrible.
All right,
I
everybody. So that was our top worst
Yeah,
movies of 2022.
yeah.
All right, we're going on to our best and I do have a runners up, so we'll get into that.
Three of them.
My number five was a movie you had on your worst, which was Clerks 3. It was not is not my favorite of the movies, obviously, of all the movies that came out, but I enjoyed it. When I first watched it, I was a little pissed off at the ending, and I won't ruin it for people who've never seen it because the ending is something that shouldn't be spoiled. You should go and, not, whatever. But
The ending that I mentioned to you is the only thing I liked in it. It actually brought a little bit of a tear to my eye, but that's it.
okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't
That last shot.
the last shot. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I thought it was fun and enjoyable. It had a lot of throwbacks to the original Clerks because it was, set in the idea of, Randall is having a heart attack, wants to do something with his life, so he wants to create a movie, but he lets kind of his ego take control, and he ends up making a mess out of everything, and kind of pissing off Dante, who was a big part of his life and everything. And every end of every Clerks kind of ends with them yelling at each other, or something, like you're the person who ruins my life, he did that with the uh in the convenience store where they're trying to kill each other in the first movie, second movie at the jail cell, and the third movie when they're making the movie. And I thought, it tied really well. And I enjoyed it. It's a movie I own on 4K, and I will watch. You know that. You've
God.
seen my 4K.
No, I know. It's like one of the ugliest movies made, and it's on 4K. And the
Well, I
film
mean,
just
it wasn't
it
made
doesn't
on
look
4K
good.
for everything. Like, it was a Best Buy exclusive, Steelbook 4K. So it's just to me, it's cool, like to have because it's I think
I
the
mean, if you like
first
the movie,
only Kevin
sure,
Smith
then that's
4K.
fine. Yeah,
And all the movies are his movies are not visually pleasing, you know. Like
no,
they
and he's even mentioned that.
yeah, he
So
doesn't
that
care.
you
Like
know,
I'm saying this, I'm not making fun of the dude. I don't go to a Kevin Smith film to see like amazing shots. I go to a Kevin Smith film to see funny characters doing funny things. And I think this
I
held up to it. I really enjoyed it. And I'll
I
watch it over and over again.
oh
Um,
geez,
I liked it better than Reboot. Um,
oh god, that was
and
another awful one.
yeah,
I just I the it but and I've mentioned this to you before is I just don't like movies that are made by filmmakers that make movies in their movies and they're totally wrong. And it's like even on the simplest scale of the stuff that I've done, it's like, dude, that's not how a movie's made. And just like the idea that Randall has no idea about crowdfunding, but yet he's such a film nut makes no sense. And all Dante has to do is Google, movie funding, and it will, and all these, crowdfunding
Indiegogo
things will
and yeah.
come up. Yeah, it just makes no sense to me. It's just like
Well, maybe they just didn't want to do the crowdfunding thing because it would take
you
too
can
much
just
time out of like whatever, I
you
don't
can
know.
you can just do it you could do crowdfunding for a month. So Dante could just very easily say like, "Hey, I found this thing of crowdfunding. We just have to tell people about it on the internet." And
What
they
the
just,
fuck is the internet?
and then they, which was funny when that was said,
Well, that
in
was
way
from
back.
Jay because
Yeah,
Jay
James.
doesn't fucking never go inside and play on the computer. He smokes weed all day and
Well, no, because they
sells
they
it.
say they say that in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's what I'm saying. Jay says it.
Yeah. Well, I thought you meant that he said it in part three.
No, no, no.
You
Jay
got to
says
tell me
it
what
in
film you're
Strike
talking about.
Back and
Yeah.
everything. So my idea would be like, but Randall saying, "What the fuck is the internet?" Where I don't know. Actually, no, that's not true because in Jay and
With
Silent Bob Strike
with
Back, he said, "I'm
Randall,
gonna," you know.
Randall probably looks at porn, so he should. So,
Yeah.
but whatever. Okay, us continue on. I could go on
All
and
right.
on.
So you're number five.
That would be okay, because once again, these are not written in order. Well, I'll just go in my order that I have them because it kind of
Because
works.
yeah, see, apparently you write them in your order and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, well, so my number five is Nope.
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 You enjoyed it?
I think it's 3 for 3, and Us is actually my favorite one because I love the whole
I hated the ending
underground.
killed it for me. I was loving it up until the ending of Us, and I was like, you fucking ruined this movie for me. I remember just going and the Hands Across America shit and all this other stuff that they had set up, but I felt like they just did it wrong. I don't like it's been a while since I've seen that movie. So I only watched it once and I was like, this just pisses me off to like no end, like that ending. So
Well, and Jordan Peele is somebody who I like. I mean, I've liked him even, when he was doing all the comedy and all that type of stuff.
yeah,
And and
Keanu.
yeah, and that's I like when he has stated, um, like I won't have a white lead in my movies. That never made me mad. I didn't
Mm,
care because he's a black filmmaker. Why would you not have a black lead? He
yeah.
does have white people in his movies. So it's just like, okay, I get it. If you're a female director, you may want to just work with female lead actors.
Mm.
That's fine. Don't criticize me when I have a white male in the lead because I'm a white male. But it's like, so that stuff doesn't bother me. And
Actually, it'll be the exact opposite. If you put a black male in your lead, they'll criticize you because they'll be like, "What do you know about black people?"
it could go
That's
both ways. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
like that because I got that from somebody. I'm not gonna say who, but somebody I know was telling me I was not allowed to write a movie or a TV show, I think it was, that's centered around a black lead character, and I said, why not? It's writing, and they're like, well, because you're not a black person. And I was like,
Well, if I had a
that's.
gay character in a script, I would probably give it to a gay friend to say, "Is this okay? What changes do I need to make, or is it fine, or whatever?"
But you look at
Just like a
Tarantino,
woman.
nobody other than maybe Spike Lee, nobody really criticized Samuel L. Jackson saying those lines, the N-word or whatever
Oh, for
until
Tarantino, they have. They
no,
they
I'm
they
saying in
definitely
the
have.
now they have. But back when Pulp Fiction first came out, no, they didn't, I don't believe.
I
They
believe
just
they didn't criticize it for Samuel L. Jackson, but they did criticize it for
Tarantino writing it.
Tarantino saying it at the house when he's
Oh,
talking to the Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta, when he's like, "Do you think this is dead inward,
yeah,
whatever it
storage.
was,
Yeah.
storage?" Yeah, and he repeated it over and over and over. And I guess that his wife or girlfriend in the movie is black. And so, but yeah, he was criticized for that. There was a lot of should he be, and Samuel L. Jackson came to his defense.
I mean,
So
obviously, when he read the script and he knew it was a white guy saying that, you know, he didn't, like Samuel L. Jackson didn't care. But anyway, point is, nope, I just wasn't my cup of tea. But
it's not a lot of people's cup of tea.
yeah, and
A lot of
so
people didn't
it
like it.
was on my worst, but only because a lot of times it was low on my worst because a lot of times I couldn't figure out movies that that I absolutely hated, because generally speaking, me, I like it takes a lot for me to go, okay, that movie sucked, you know. You're a little bit more critical than I am, but if I at least enjoyed my time, watching the movie and it didn't anger me at all, then, you know, right? Like then I won't hate it.
It depends for me. If they're shoving the message down my throat, then it does make me angry.
Yeah. All right, so that was your number five. My number four is one that I'm sure is on your high list, which is Top Gun Maverick. Um, and the only
Yes.
reason it's number four, not like probably higher or whatever, is because A, I just watched it, for the first time recently, right? And so I really like it didn't like it hasn't really had time to like completely digest and everything into me, but I really did enjoy it. And I am not a fan of the first Top Gun. I think it's
Ugh.
okay. I'm just not. It's like, it's not my, but you know me, I'm very picky on stuff. Like I don't, there's
Original
certain
Top
things I
Gun
don't
is
like. I
great.
don't like
Well,
Westerns. I don't like all
see,
these things.
maybe right, but maybe it's your age. Possibly is I grew up with Top Gun.
Right.
It was like 84, and I worked at the movie theater that played Top Gun, and that thing was jam packed every night. And I was an usher there. And for me, a friend of mine joined the Navy because of Top Gun, and
So
probably the
it's
best
got a
thing that
big
ever
part
happened
of
to
your,
him.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
Top
you're
Gun's a
probably
huge thing.
worried that Top Gun Maverick was going to suck,
Well, I'll
because
get more into that because it is on
yeah,
my list.
yeah.
When yeah, I'll do my feelings more
But
on
yeah, I
Maverick.
liked it. I liked it. I had a fun time. I enjoyed Tom Cruise. I liked what they did with Val Kilmer. I thought that was a very well done and very very they handled it very well.
It was respectful
He was respectful
to the
and
actor and the character.
to the actor and to the character. And I think Val Kilmer, I think he agreed to do it because of that, and everything. And I thought that was great. So I really enjoyed it, the movie, and I like Tom Cruise. Like a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise. Like some people don't like him because he's a Scientologist. Some people don't like him because he jumps on the bed or couch or whatever and
A,
talks
a,
about Katie Holmes. I don't know, whatever.
so just brief. So the Scientology thing. I think if you don't like him as a Scientologist, and I don't like Scientology, then you have to look at other actors for their religion. So do
Right.
you not like, um, Denzel Washington because he's Christian? Do you not like an actor because they're Muslim?
Or
So
Satanist.
I am whatever religion it happens to be. So me being atheist, I at this point I don't really care because to me there's no difference between them. They're all
Yeah.
made up. They've all caused harm to a point. They've done good, but mostly bad. And so when people go, well, he's a Scientologist. Okay, what about all the Christians? Don't you
Right.
then have to look at all the act? I mean,
All
you
the
know,
religions. If you only like one certain religion, I'm a Christian. Uh, I don't care what your religion is necessarily, as long as it's not affecting other people. Scientology is more of a cult than a religion, in my opinion. It
all religion is a cult, all of it.
uh
If you're giving your money, you're giving your belongings, you're worshiping something,
yeah, but like
it's a cult.
Christianity, you don't, unless you're like a Catholic and you're a priest or something, but you don't go and live in a commune, well, but there are some
Jim
Christian,
Jones.
yeah, but yeah, but that's tricking the punch, man. Nobody did that for, well, they might, I don't know, for
They just do
Scientologists,
it
they're
in
crazy.
different ways. But the other thing with Cruz is the whole thing of jumping on like Oprah's couch. That was his sister. So his sister became his agent. So when all the Scientology stuff was happening, and he was going on like Matt Lauer and he was doing all this stuff, his manager dropped him. That's when Paramount dropped him. That's when Paula Wagner dropped him. And his sister became his manager and is like, you need to do this type of stuff. And that's why he went out and did it. He didn't disagree with it. But if you notice, he didn't do it before and he hasn't done it after.
Yep, it got him
It's
attention,
yeah, it's the
um,
only time,
negative or
and that was
positive.
because of his sister. Yeah.
Anyway,
And then
I liked Top Gun. I liked him, and I really liked Jennifer Connelly. Well,
she was good in it.
she was
She just
gorgeous.
gets better looking.
I know, like
She's
she
what like
ages
Marissa
really
Tomei.
well.
She's one of those actresses, one of those women who just keeps getting better looking as they get older.
I know. And the fact that she's worked with Argento too, and other people, like, she's just amazing. So I love her, and it's
Well,
great
and
to see her.
she worked with that director before. So
Good.
Top Gun Maverick is a combination of Tom Cruise people and the director's people kind of melding because then Tom Cruise worked with that actor on Oblivion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he also did a Tron Legacy.
Cool. All right, so you're number four.
My number four is one that I heard was absolutely awful and nobody liked it, apparently. And I saw the trailer for it and said, I don't know, this looks good to me. And it's The Menu.
Oh, wait, I've heard
I
nothing but good things about it.
I've heard people on Facebook saying it was awful, it was boring, it was stupid, and so I avoided it.
Uh-huh.
And it's primarily a one location movie. Probably like 98% of it is one location. I thought Ralph Frames or Ray Frames, however you want to say, Fiennes did a really
Fines.
good job
Uh,
as the chef, and I thought it was really good.
I've been
I
wanting to watch it. I might watch it this year. And I'll let you know what I think of it. But it's something
it's
on my list, but I just
best
haven't.
to avoid reviews, trailers, and all that stuff because it does. I I kind of knew what was going to happen without. Well, no, okay. To be honest, the reason why I watched it was Red Letter Media.
Because
Both
they reviewed it.
both Jay and Mike loved it, and
Well,
of
there you
course they
go.
told the whole story all the way through the end, and so I knew what was going to happen. But it's like, well, shit, I don't really. All right, let me check it out, and I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Well, there you go. So number four is The Menu for you.
The Menu.
Number three for me goes to it's my only Marvel that got best of or whatever. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Sam Raimi's return to the Marvel universe. And I I had a fun time. It was enjoyable. There were it wasn't my number one because I feel like there were a couple
Number
things they
one.
could have done differently that could have made it even cooler, and stuff. My biggest problem is this movie says Multiverse of Madness, and then it sort of doesn't go into the
There's really no madness.
well, yeah, there's no madness, but it doesn't really barely goes into the multiverse, kind of goes into
Because it was meant to be a horror movie. That's why they got Sam Raimi as a director for hire. So it
yeah,
was very lackluster.
originally it was Scott Derrickson was going to be doing it, and then he and uh um Kevin Feige argued about where they wanted to go with it and stuff. And so he said, well, okay, if you guys want to go this other route, I'm gonna leave. So he went and he did the Black Phone, which I've heard really good things about and I haven't seen
Yeah,
yet.
I've heard that's good. Yeah, I haven't
Um,
seen it.
but I want to see it. It might have probably be on my top or something, or whatever if I had seen it. Because I heard really, really, really good things.
Written
But
by Richard Matheson's son.
you see, that's the funny thing is Blumhouse is like, oh, they're not gonna let you do play in the big pin play pen. Come over here, play in our backyard. We'll do something fun and we'll let you have creative control,
Well, and,
and
and
shit.
yeah. I thought Doctor Strange 2, I'm not going to go through the whole title, incredibly lackluster from Sam Raimi.
But it's funny it's not on your
it's
worst, so it just means it's blah to you, then I'm guessing.
it's fine. I was entertained. I mean, it's fine. It's should have been a WandaVision movie, not a Doctor Strange movie. I
Yeah.
thought that she did a great job as like the Scarlet Witch. I
Yeah, it should
thought
have
was
been
really
Scarlet
good.
Witch in the
I
Multiverse
mean,
of
yeah,
Madness
she
or
was like
whatever.
100%. But they've done the same thing with Thor, like they did with Thor with Doctor Strange. He's an idiot now. He's stupid because all the women around him have to be better than Doctor Strange. So now
Well, I mean,
Scarlet Witch has to be.
she's one of the most powerful beings in the world,
But
dude.
he's looked at as an idiot, and the same thing happened in Spider-Man in the last Spider-Man movie. No
Oh
Way
well,
Home.
Spider-Man, figured out
There,
math and then,
well,
you
there,
know,
yeah, like there's no way Doctor Strange, with as smart as he is, would allow Peter Parker to screw up that spell or to just do the spell in general. He would just be like, live with it. You're a teenager. Just I don't think that he would do that. But they had to make him dumb. And so he does the spell. So it's pretty much Doctor Strange's fault that all of that happened
right.
because he
I don't know.
allowed it.
I disagree with that just because I think at first he wanted to help uh Peter Parker out, and that's why he did the spell because at one point Wong looks at him and says, "Hey, don't do the spell. That's a terrible
And he's
idea."
100% correct.
Right, and he's the boss too. He became the head, whatever over it. There's even a joke in there about I thought you were the head guy. It was like,
Yeah.
no, because I was stuck in that stupid, I got wiped out for 5 years and Wong didn't. He got it over me. Which they bring back into Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange is still the boss, in a way. Like Wong is still, even though he's the head guy, he's not really a leader, and everything. And Doctor
Well,
Strange is.
okay, I'm not going to go into this. I'll go into it in the
We'll do that.
superhero.
We'll do that for
So,
the save that for all of that
yeah.
for the superhero thing. Anyway, point is, I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time. Like I said, I think that there could have been a couple things. I think if they had actually gone into more multiverses, we got to see that. We got to see all these different universes and different characters and versions of the different people. They're doing that for Secret Wars most likely. So we are getting the multiverse of madness that we should have gotten in Multiverse of Madness in Secret Wars, I believe. But it's just they had what they had. They made the movie and it was a horror film. It had horror elements and Zombie Strange was a lot of fun to me. I thought I had a great time with
That I
that.
liked. Yeah,
You
there's
know,
elements of it that out of the Marvel ones that I did watch for our superhero video, I didn't necessarily hate any of them. I just thought they were fine.
right.
It's fine. So it's, I mean, Doctor Strange 2 did make more money than any of the Phase 4 movies. It
Right.
didn't hit 1 billion, which is what you're supposed to hit these days with Marvel movies. But it came close. So obviously people liked it the most.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyway, your number was it 3? Or
number
yeah, you're
3,
number 3.
Barbarian.
Barbarian. I heard good things about it. I heard bad things about it.
Loved
Um,
it. It depends if you like that kind of quirky horror. And Justin Long is hilarious in it, and so he's kind of the comedy element of it. But it's the guy who directed it, and I want to find this film. I forget the name of it, but it was like a bad '80s like sex comedy that he kind of disowns. And this is so he's calling Barbarian his first movie when it's really a second movie. But the music is great. The directing was really good. The editing, the sound effects were really good. The cast was really good. I love what they did with showing the neighborhood during the day because we couldn't see it during the night. Um, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Oh, you're talking about like Miss March, I guess, is what he did.
Yeah, Miss March. Yeah.
Okay.
So he kind of disowns that and says, no, this is my first movie.
That's funny.
So I kind of want to see that just because it's him. I loved it. I don't know why people have an issue with it. I saw some people on Facebook saying it's overrated, but yet then it's like, okay, well, those are like the same people who love Smile.
Yeah.
So you're liking a shitty written movie over actually a smart written movie.
Right.
So I just, yeah, I loved it. And it's freaking Netflix. So it's never going to come out on freaking, like physical media. So
Wait, it
bootleg.
wasn't distributed by Netflix, was it? It wasn't a Netflix original.
No, but they never distribute. They said, I read an article that's saying it will never come out. They're not going
That
to have a physical
sucks.
copy. And I know why they do it is because then if you do want to see it, you have to watch Netflix.
Problem is Netflix can take it off at any time and then you're fucked,
Yeah.
you know?
So I don't blame people for bootlegging shit from them
Yeah.
because it's anything, even that, and that goes along with the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything else that they did. I don't blame them for bootlegging or making bootleg physical copies because it's not coming out.
Yeah. It's
Release
stupid.
it, you idiot. Well, shit, all of us are going to buy the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre because it's part of the collection. I
I'm
would, even
not,
though I
but
didn't like
all
it.
right.
Well, I'm a completist, so
I know.
I'm an
There are
idiot.
some things I'll want to complete, but there are some things that I just don't care. And Texas Chainsaw is like one of my least favorite franchises. I don't like Leatherface to begin with, you know. I'm just not a fan, you know, but I like the first two movies, and then after that everything's okay in some way or another, but and some of them are terrible, like, you know, that, but like it's just not my favorite, you know.
I could
Um,
always watch Leatherface Texas Chainsaw
yeah.
3.
All right.
That's actually what was a lot of my basis for Meat Massacre 4 was that movie.
Will you
But
watch Texas Chainsaw: The Next Generation? It's Matthew McConaughey and Renee
yeah,
Zellweger.
it's not the best, but I'll watch it. Sure.
All right. So number two for me was a movie that I think wasn't on your list, but wasn't one of your favorites either. And I think you've gone on like Facebook attacking it or something. I really liked it, which was Violent Night.
Yeah,
I
that
loved
did
it.
not.
I had a
Yeah.
fun time. It almost felt like it was all horror slash action slash uh, well, more action, not horror, but it has, I mean,
Well,
not
it's
real
horror, action, comedy. Yeah,
comedy and stuff all mixed in on for Christmas. And I was like, this is just it was almost like it felt like Patrick Casey and Josh quote unquote Worm Miller wrote this for me, you know, because I love those guys. I've loved them ever since
well, that's
I read
conceited.
I've read you know, I watched He Stopped Stabbing Me and Dorm Days and all the stuff that they did before they made Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog was the thing right lately that's really kind of pushed them up and everything. And I loved Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't see Sonic the Hedgehog 2 yet, which did come out this year. I didn't see it yet. I do want to check it out at some point. But I just absolutely love those guys, and so I've met Patrick and everything, and he's such a nice guy, very down to earth, and you know, met him in person, you know, and stuff when I went to Burbank. So I was excited, but I was a little nervous because, oh man, here's a big movie in the theater for them again, you know, like, you know, is it gonna be, how's it gonna be viewed? And I loved it. Absolutely had a blast. And so yeah, I that was my second favorite movie.
I was not a fan of it because I thought it was a ripoff on about 20 other movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
um,
it felt like
but
the
but
love of all of those movies.
felt like it. See, I didn't take it as homage. I took it just as them ripping stuff off because it was so obvious that they were taking stuff from other movies that
Well, they
to
even
me it
mention some
didn't.
of the stuff
It
like Home
wasn't a
Alone. They
wink, you
mention
know.
they mention all these different things. So you
Just
already
because you
know that.
mention it doesn't mean
Well, it's
you
almost like
know.
wink, wink, and that's exactly what I like. I like that kind of shit, you know. So
It just did not work for me at all. I am not a John Leguizamo fan. I've
I like
never liked
John
him.
Leguizamo. I
I
enjoy
I
him.
think he's a bad actor. And I've liked him maybe in one movie, and that was Land of the Dead. And because they had him playing a character that he could play. I mean, there's the rich white guy way up here, and then there's the poor Hispanic guy down here that's trying to get up there. And I thought, oh, okay, that's good casting. You know, that works. Um,
I liked
and
him in Romeo and Juliet. I liked him in.
I haven't seen Roman. I hated him, and I know that this has like a cult fan base, but I thought Super Mario Brothers was god awful. I thought he was
I
horribly
I
miscast.
rewatched it and I actually thought it was a lot more fun,
He's
but
not Italian, and either
you know,
is what's his face who plays
I
the
know.
other one.
I there's that bit where
He's British.
he actually said that if you're not of the specific heritage that you shouldn't play that. And it's funny that he said that because he's actually played an Italian guy and he's not Italian. So it's
Well,
sort of,
and
you
now
know,
he's going nuts.
that's what I'm
Where
saying. He said that.
he's attacking the
Yes.
makers of this new animated movie with Chris Pratt, and a lot of people are looking forward to that. And he's saying you have to cast me. If you don't, you're racist. If you don't bring me onto the film, I'm the only person who knows that it's going to be a hit. That's funny because it wasn't. Your film wasn't, and he's just gone completely nuts and over the top. And it's like, why would they bring you in? You're not Italian.
I don't,
It doesn't make sense. And I'm Italian, and it's just like I don't care if they want to bring him in to do a voice, but don't sit there and say that you're the only person who can
yeah.
make this film right. No, no,
Anyway,
no, no.
I enjoyed him in Violent Eye. I thought he did a great job as the villain. I enjoyed all the characters in it, and honestly it was a lot of fun for me. So
I am glad that it made a lot of money. Once again, it elevates horror
yeah,
and
it
to that
elevates
it's
horror kind of stuff to the next level and makes people go, okay, well, let's keep making horror films and
yeah.
stuff. So we don't want horror to die, you know.
No, no. And if it makes money, then great. You know, I'll even something bad I'll even say is great if it makes a lot of money.
Yep.
So
All right. So you're number two.
Terrifier 2.
Oh, I've heard really good things about it. The only problem I've heard with this is the length is a little long.
It's roughly 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I know some people said that it felt like 2.5 hours. It did not feel like 2.5 hours for me. I loved it from beginning to end. I'm a fan of the first one. I love that they crowdfunded and they got X, and they were
They got
looking
two
for
hundred
X amount of
fifty
money,
thousand dollars.
which was way over what they were expecting. So
Right.
obviously the director threw in everything, including the kitchen sink. And I know a lot of people have a problem with the ending, and I don't. I thought and it also brings it up a level for horror films with blood. This thing is so friggin' nasty and bloody
The first
that
one was pretty gory and nasty,
this is
so
worse. This
yeah,
is
good.
absolutely worse. And I love Art the Clown. I'm so glad that they got the different actor from the shorts. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The Blu-ray is a little pricey for me, but I will end up buying
The
it at some
4K
point.
was like $22 at Best Buy, so I might get that at some point.
Oh, well, that's worth it because the regular Blu-ray itself is like $20.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
Because I think the 4K includes the Blu-ray, so whatever. But
yeah. So yeah,
yeah. So
I loved it.
I've been wanting to get it. I just haven't bought it yet, and eventually I'll get around to getting it. It's on my list, but and I do want to see it, but it's gonna be like there's movies right now that I have to like dedicate like the whole day to, to watch it because like the way that my life is. I'm doing podcasts or I'm writing or I'm doing something, right? Or going to the studio or I'm doing, you know what I mean? So there's always something that I'm busy with. And I have to, if it's 2.5 hours long, it's like if it's an hour and a half long, it's like quick, right? It's like watching two episodes of a 45-minute show, like whatever, right? But when it's like 2.5 hours, it's like, oh my goodness, this is like it's almost taking the whole day to watch sometimes, So
Right.
I have to like say, okay, well, this is the time I'll watch it, and that's the time I'll watch it, and that's how I can handle things these days. And so yeah, I'll definitely want to eventually watch it and check it out and everything. It's on my to-do list, you know. So,
As it should be.
yep. Before we get to number one, let's go to our runners
Right.
up. So my
Okay.
number third runner up is Confess Fletch, which is the new Fletch movie, starring John Hamm
Love John
as
Hamm.
yeah, and he was great in Top Gun Maverick, but he
Yep.
was even better in Confess Fletch, in my opinion, because obviously he wasn't the main lead of Top Gun Maverick, but he was a good supporting role. In this, he is a great lead. He carries the movie. He is another what is it, Chevy Chase. Like he doesn't mimic Chevy, with the way he talks and everything, but he does feel like a Fletch, his
I do
version.
want to see it, and that film does have a long history. Like originally, like Kevin Smith was going to work on it, and
Yeah, it was
Chevy
gonna be
Chase was
Fletch
supposed to be
one
the
with Jason Lee,
yeah
and
Jason
then
Lee, and then Chevy Chase was going to do like the bookends on it, and yeah, it's gone through a huge
but they
like
they did it and
development
they
hell.
set it in modern times, like post 2020. So it is it's an interesting movie in my opinion because it's like, oh, Fletch was never like written to be modern times, but the way they did it, I think really, really worked. And I think was pretty funny and had some
Hmm.
really great lines in it. And I in delivery just was wonderful. So what's your number three?
My number three is Don't Worry, Honey.
Darling.
Darling. Sorry, I wrote honey for mistake by mistake. Yeah, Don't Worry, Darling. Um,
Which I listened to the pitch meeting guy beforehand because I almost like felt like I probably wasn't gonna watch the movie. So I watched it. I'm so mad I did because they literally they do say spoilers at the beginning of it and they do spoil the whole fucking movie. And now I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch it because the way they described it just sounded terrible.
yeah, it's very much it's a science fiction movie. It's
Right.
like The Matrix. It's like uh a Stepford Wives. It's like and they obviously the history of the movie is more out there than the movie itself. I Harry Styles, I don't give a shit about. I don't care about One Direction. I kind of don't like Harry Styles, but at the same time, it's like you're you're just kind of seem like an idiot to me. But I
Hmm.
did like him in this. I thought that he did a good job. Um, I thought that it was well directed. I thought it was well directed. I thought its camera shots were interesting. I know one review pointed out that just because you have a lot of shots looking straight down on a house or a car, that doesn't make it like science fiction or whatever. For me,
Hmm.
it did. I thought that God, I'm blanking on the director. You always look this stuff up.
Oh, it's the
Uh,
that's the chick, Olivia
Olivia Wilde.
Wilde.
So yeah, and she did Booksmart, which I thought was really good.
I never
And
saw Booksmart, but I want to, so it's
it's
on my
very
list.
funny. She's was also in Tron Legacy, since I brought that up. She was gorgeous in Tron Legacy. Lazarus Effect, I thought that she was good in. And so I think that the from what I understand from the original script to the screen is very different. That it's the script is very violent,
Mm.
so when somebody is like hit in the head in the movie, they just fall down. But in the script, they're hitting the head like 10 times and there's blood everywhere. But as far as kind of like a dystopian, matrixy type movie goes, I enjoyed it. And I know a lot of people call it woke. And I didn't think it was woke necessarily. I think that it would be like calling Jordan Peele his movies racist because he has a black lead. Well,
Hmm.
Olivia Wilde likes having female leads. There's nothing wrong with that. She's female. She relates to obviously female, parts. So I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I recommend people give it a chance. Kind of the same
Okay.
way with like Matrix, the new Matrix movie I liked. And a lot of people
I just
hated it.
don't like the Matrix. Like I don't like the whole series. So I have no interest in that. But awesome. I will have to check it out and everything. I'm interested in seeing it at some point, I guess, but sort of know the ending to it. So it kind of ruins like, just the thought of it because
I
then you
saw the
just know.
same thing that you did, so I already knew the ending going into it. But
Yeah.
that's whatever. It's fine. It's
Okay.
the trailings, the endings in the trailer too. So
Right. All right. So my number two runner up is Scream 5, which I originally had higher up before, but then things started not like Top Gun Maverick became in there and started kind of messing around with ideas of what really my top ones were. Um, Scream 5 was a lot of fun. To me, it there were problems, there were issues with it, and that's maybe why I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Obviously we've talked about this before. I think we've even done a review together of it before, and we both didn't like the fact that well, I didn't hate. I didn't like and didn't care, for it, which was the just was his name, Ryan Phillippe coming back. Or not Ryan Phillippe, Skeet Ulrich coming back.
Skate, yeah,
Yeah. So Skeet Ulrich coming back
the
and
horrible de-aging.
not just that, like that I don't care because like whatever. But I just didn't like the idea of that, oh man, so this girl's now finally seeing her father all over the place, like right when all this stuff's happening. Like that just, seems
I
very
didn't like any of
convenient.
that. I don't really even think that it served much of a purpose
And
to
like,
the
how did she know
plot.
what he looked like? And like, did she have any pictures of him? We didn't know any of that backstory. So like, all that stuff was just like, hey, we're fans of the original Scream. Let's put, Skeet Ulrich in this movie because that's what the fans are gonna want to see. And whatever. And
And
I'm
we'll
just
put them in
hoping that
the
Scream
original
6, which comes out
house.
this
And
year, is better than that. And I hope it becomes on my you know, top five list next year. But we'll
yeah,
see.
I'm looking forward to part six.
I'm,
And
I'm looking forward to checking it out. You never
I've
know.
come
Wow.
to like part five a little bit better, but it didn't. It was fine. It didn't make my
Yeah.
list at all. It's in the middle.
So there you go. So what
It's
about?
no Halloween ends, so
Oh no,
that's
yeah, no.
no,
And
yeah.
they didn't. And those guys, I love those guys. The guys who made that made the amazing oh fuck, I can't even think of the title. It's the movie with the people who just got married and then they have to play that game, like hide and seek game, and they have to find each other. And then whoever they try to kill them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have a
Oh, the
clue?
ones that the director did.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know the film you're talking about. I'm blanking on the title, but
Yeah.
it's like Ready or Not or something like
Ready
that.
or Not. There you go.
Oh, I
Ready.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, you did. Ready or Not. You're right. And I love that. I thought that was a great movie. So when I heard the directors of Ready or Not were directing this, I got super excited. I was like, that's awesome.
I got excited for that too because that's a good movie.
Hmm? Yep. So there you go. You're number two.
My number two would be the new Hellraiser.
Okay. I've heard good things about it.
I think that it really blew a lot of people away. I think that they just thought this was going to be like a shit Hellraiser movie. Like it's just going to be garbage, like most of the Hellraiser sequels.
Hmm.
And I think people were really surprised by it. And I think that it was a very good idea to have a trans person play. Well, she's not necessarily Pinhead, but it's to play the
The
demon.
Cinnabite,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Cenobite, because in the original story, Pinhead is not called Pinhead, and Clive Barker does describe that Cenobite as neither male or female.
Like androgynous or something.
Yeah. And so even way back then, he had it where there was no sex involved. And so I like that. I actually like that. You're like, oh, okay, they're following the book. That works. And
Awesome.
yeah, so I think that she did a really good job, and it is more or less kind of a one location movie. And yeah, I thought it worked. They kind of evolved the cube,
Nice.
so it's yeah, it now takes different forms and different shapes and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it was very good. I thought for
Good.
something that we all were going to hate, like many people didn't like Jeepers Creepers Reborn, this was a
That
very
wasn't on
pleasant
your
surprise,
least favorite list or anything. I'm surprised.
because I didn't mind Jeepers Creepers Reborn,
Okay.
but it falls in the category of it was fine.
Okay.
So it's in the middle.
Okay. All right. So my number one of my runners up is The Northman, which I had originally also had higher up, and then things got knocked down. I liked it a lot. I Paul recently watched it, and Paul is a huge Robert Eggers fan and thought it was okay. Like it wasn't his favorite of,
He thought it was fine.
yeah. And so it was nice to know, like, at least he owns it. It's a, like on 4K, I believe. And, and it looks beautiful. It's wonderfully shot, directed. Everything is amazing.
Good,
It
very good director.
literally
Yeah,
should be, but I think the problem is just, I think to me, it's just too long, and it gets kind of, after a while, I'm kind of like, let's skip to the end. I want to find out what's happening. Like all this middle stuff kind of got a little bit boring. Slowed the movie down a little bit, but it wasn't boring to the point where I was wanting to turn it off. It was just boring where I just was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting anxious, wanting to see what's going to happen. The end, toward the end, and I thought it was good. That was well done and well made, and definitely up there, one of my best, one of the best. So there you
yeah.
go.
I want to see it, and I've heard good things. So
Yeah. So what is your number one runner up?
well, it's funny that you mentioned something that's long. Mine is the Batman.
I have not seen that yet, and I could have bought it for like $10 on 4K during Black
Oh, you should
Friday.
have. The film looks
Yeah,
beautiful.
I should have. I'm pretty sure because of that, I'll get another chance at some point,
Yeah,
because
it's another one that I think was a surprise, but it was a little long. I like what they did with the Riddler. He's very different, so you can't really compare him to anything.
and I know at the
Um,
end they have the Joker show up a little bit or whatever, like a
no,
brief like
that's a
deleted
deleted
scene.
scene
Okay.
that's on YouTube,
Okay.
which was very Dark Knight. So I'm actually glad that they cut it out. Um, Catwoman, really, I can live. I mean, it's just nobody's going to beat Michelle Pfeiffer, and so I thought her stuff in it wasn't necessarily needed, but it's beautifully shot. It's well directed. Surprisingly, Twilight guy is actually made a good Batman,
How
and
long is it?
it's like 2.5. I think it's almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours. God damn it. I was yeah, 2 hours and 56 minutes. Jesus.
Yeah,
The
he
reason I'm
actually
saying that
in
is because I haven't seen it, and maybe I should watch it right before our before our superhero thing, just so I can give my opinion. So I may do that because we have, some time before, you
I think
know,
it's definitely worth it, and it's I like that Batman actually investigates, that he is a detective,
yeah, like he
and
was in the comics.
yeah, so it's I thought it was good, and I know that there were fights between actor and director because that's not who the director wanted, and Warner forced
Robert Pattinson on him.
Robert Patterson on him.
I've
Yeah,
heard Robert Pattinson is great, in it, but
he does a fine job. I just wish that there wasn't, once again, the background in it. Yeah, there's all these rumors and all that type of stuff that's kind of, I think, overshadows the movie a little bit.
yeah.
But yeah, so that would be my my number
or
one of
runner up.
honorable mentions.
All
Yeah,
right, or honorable mention on that. Honorable because it's the best.
honorable.
Dishonorable if it's the worst. All right. So my number one is the movie that I wished Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness actually was, and this is why it got number one as opposed to number three or number whatever. But is Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Yeah,
which I absolutely loved. I had such a great time. I did not think, I mean, I heard good things, right?
so that.
Like people have been praising the movie so bad, and I'm an A24 fan, so I was like, all right, I'll buy this. Sight unseen. Worst comes to worst, hopefully it just looks at least beautiful, and stuff. Stunningly beautiful, well photographed, well directed, well choreographed. The villain, chick was amazing. The actors just blew me away. It was the everything just it stars fucking Short Round as an adult. It is so weird to have fucking Key Kwan. I can't even say his name. So Key Wong Kwan, something like that. The guy who played he was Short Round in Temple of Doom. He was
I think that's how he.
Data in Goonies.
Yeah, Goonies. Yeah.
He in this he is, he's a martial artist in this and stuff. I'm like, holy shit, like it's just awesome. I mean, at first he's not, but like it becomes like so cool, and I don't know, I had a fun time. I enjoyed the movie a lot, and kind of wish like it kind of what it did differently than Doctor Strange is it definitely showed more multiverse stuff, different worlds, different universes, all that stuff. Like they keep going into different universes and everything. So I would definitely suggest that that movie for, if anyone has maybe has heard of it but is not sure about seeing it, watch it. You'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about it. I do want to watch it. One of the things that I love is that Michelle Yeoh now has a career here in
Yeah,
America.
fuck
And
yeah.
even though, I wasn't a big fan of, was it Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, I love that she was in it. I do not like Star Trek Discovery at all. I turned it off after the first episode, but I love that she's in it. I just love that she is getting a lot of work. My friends and I used to go down to Chinatown in LA and see all the Asian films at Asian theaters. So they were
Nice.
completely uncut, subtitled. We'd be in there with a large group of white people and some Asian, and we would just be loving all these movies. So I've been watching her for like 30 years.
She's wonderful.
So
I mean,
yeah, I'm so happy that
everybody in the
she's
movie was
out
just,
there.
I mean, stellar. And it like the first minute I saw it, I was like, this is my favorite movie. Like almost this is getting up there as like this may one day be one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. That kind of thing. And that's a big deal because if you know me, I have like a certain group that I love, but I'm gonna let a lot of movies like wait time, in time. So there you go. My number one. So what's your
Okay.
number one? Dun, dun, dun,
Obviously,
dun, dun.
Top Gun Maverick.
Ah,
So
yes.
best
I
movie of
should
the
have
year, I
guessed
think.
because you
Yeah.
hadn't mentioned it yet, you know. So
Yeah, it's we already talked about my love for Top Gun. I at first was one of those like, ooh, do we really need a sequel to this? Like 13 years later, and then yes, we did. I was there opening night, and
wait,
and I
13 years later is way more than 13.
but like 20. Wait, it was like 84. So yeah, like 20 years later,
Yeah, almost
and
20 years.
yeah.
Like
So
18.
and it so I was there from the beginning of this, and seeing it opening night with a large group of
I thought it
people.
was 87. I swear to
It
God.
might be 87. I don't know. I get some of those dates wrong.
Yeah,
I I know I was working at a movie theater at the
86.
time.
Okay, so
So
it's close. I
86.
mean,
Okay.
between our thing, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And just being part of that first audience and thinking that this might bomb because
yeah.
nobody wanted it, and then just seeing it just slowly just start to kick ass, and then getting up to, like a little over 1.5 billion dollars,
in the
and
box
making it,
office. That's amazing.
yeah, and
And
not
then
having to
keep
go to
going
China.
and keep beating out all these other movies that are coming out at the same time
Yeah,
that it did not expect. And you know what? I will say this. One of the things that was talked about in many other videos I've seen reviewing it, that the thing is, we don't, it goes to show we don't need to do a woke movie because that movie was the farthest from woke
no,
ever.
and it was diversified
Yeah,
without being, thrown or punched in your face.
right. Well, it just
You
felt
know,
normal, like, because okay, there's a TV show that I love called LA Complex, right? And in that show, they Jewel State, who's in like Firefly and a bunch of other shows. She was in it and she was playing this character, a former like big time actress who's now kind of like hit a slump, you know, and she tried to go in for this role and they're like, "Oh, didn't your manager call you and tell you you know, we're going a different direction, right?" And he was like, it was called blind color casting or something, which meant like primarily not white, you know, everybody else but white, So they were kind of going all black, you know, for that.
okay.
And she was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because, that's just Hollywood casting, because it's the black friend, It's like, do you have a white friend? To all these black girls, like, do you have a white friend? No, it's just Hollywood, like lying to you and stuff, and they do it understandably because sometimes because they need to diversify. They need to have
Well,
people
you
of
need to
color
check
in
off
the.
those boxes. So, and that's, and you did have in Top Gun Maverick, you did have the black pilot, you did have the female pilot, you
Mhm.
did have, and John Hamm was there, and then the guy working with John Hamm he's a black guy,
Yeah.
and it's um and one thing that I do like about it is there is a competition, but nobody is like against each other. Like just
Hmm.
because there's a woman pilot, they're not going like, "Hey, nice boobs." Oh, do your boobs lift up in gravity when you're that? They're not doing shit like that. It's like they respect each other for what they do within the military, within the Navy, but they compete against each other because it's the Navy.
Right.
So you don't have these like asshole characters, and I love in the scene where like Tom Cruise is in the bar, and he does say something to I'm blanking on her name, his love interest.
Oh
Help
yeah,
me out.
Jennifer Connelly's character. I forgot
Jennifer
her name.
Connelly, where he does say something, and she points at the sign that says, disrespect the lady by everybody around, and she does the bell,
Yep.
and then he has to buy everybody a drink, and he's just like, oh shit, okay. And because I think he comments like that she still looks good, and she's like, oh really, points at the side, and I just it's beautifully directed, it's beautifully shot, as we saw on YouTube, it is
Hmm.
a Star Wars, which it very much is,
Yeah.
and but that's okay, it's perfectly fine because they make it their own. And I
Yeah.
know
I
some.
honestly, until that got pointed out to me, I never even thought that
Oh,
way.
I thought immediately when I was in the theater, I'm like, oh shit, this is Star Wars. That's the Death Star.
Yep.
But it didn't bother me. But I know some people were saying, oh, it's just propaganda to get people to join the military. That's all it is.
What?
Really? So any movie can be propaganda. So if you have a movie about two cops, is that propaganda to get you to join the police force?
They
If it
probably think
takes
so.
place in a grocery store, is that or is that propaganda to get you to work at a grocery store? It doesn't make sense.
Oh,
It just because
Clerks is a propaganda to work at a convenience store.
there you go, or to make a bad movie.
Or to work at a video store. I actually it worked on me. I ended up working at a movie video store because of Clerks. So
There you
I
go.
propaganda, even though it wasn't
So I guess in that
propaganda,
case, it
it
did
worked
work.
as it, you know.
So yeah,
So
so I think it's great. I thought Tom Cruise was really
yeah,
good. Some people complained that Kelly McGillis wasn't in it. I'm sorry. Have you seen Kelly McGillis lately? She had really horrible plastic surgery, which destroyed her career. And now she looks like she's had like 8 plastic surgeries and she looks
yeah.
bad. And Jennifer Connelly was perfect for that role. And I like that her daughter defended her, in the movie. I thought that was cool. And
I mean, it could have been cool if they had Kelly McGillis for like a cameo,
no,
you
I don't
know?
be because you don't always need it. Not everything has to connect, and it's
Yeah, you notice not
her.
any of the other than the and then Iceman. There was no other of the regular guys from the first original movie coming back, and like there's no reunion, like
Right, and that's the stuff works with Ice. It works with Val Kilmer and what's going on with his life right now. And to me, Kelly McGillis was just one of many women over the years that Maverick was with. They dated, they broke up. That's it. And he just happens to be at the place where somebody that he dated a long time ago and broke her heart now works.
hmm
So she now owns a bar. So it worked perfectly good. Now, the thing with John Hamm is I saw a little clip of him on one of the talk shows, and he said, and the talk show host said, "How did you get into Maverick?" And he said, he goes, a long time ago when it was like rumored that the movie was going to be made, like rumor type of thing. Like everybody's like, oh, fuck, no, that's never going to get made. He was at a celebrity's house party, and it was rumored that Tom Cruise was going to show up. Nah, he's not going to show up. What are you talking about? There's a knock at the door. They answer it. It's Tom Cruise. He comes into the party, stays for a while, hangs out with people. All of them are like, oh, wow, it's Tom Cruise. John Hamm's like, oh, my God, Tom Cruise, I'm a fan. And Cruise leaves. Many years later, John Hamm gets a call from his agent who says, do you want to be in the new Tom Cruise movie? And John Hamm goes, yes. And he
right.
goes, wait, don't you want to know what it is? He goes, no, I don't want to know what. He goes, I don't care. Yes, I want to do that. And he goes, well, it's the new Top Gun movie. He's like, yeah, I want to do it. I don't care what it is. I want to be in that movie. So Tom Cruise's people, reached out to John Hamm's people, who then called him. So 20 years later, whatever it is, 10 years later, Tom Cruise is like, I want John Hamm in this movie.
Yep.
And he
Awesome.
got in it. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah.
So, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great episode of I don't know what it is, best and worst of 2022, I guess. And thank you so much, everybody. Hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys agreed, disagreed, whatever. I mean, if you disagreed with our picks, tell us why. If you agreed with our picks, I mean, you can tell us why as well. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Or throw some of your favorite and worst
Yeah,
movies
throw some of your
in the
favorite and
comments.
worst, least favorite. We're okay with that. We're not trying to say like because the movie is worse or whatever that it's a terrible movie and you won't like it. I mean, we don't know what you'll like. You may like Firestarter. You may like Halloween. People do like Halloween Ends, which I don't
Made a lot of
understand,
money.
but I don't understand that. But
Made a lot of people like that movie. They defend it
I
left and
was
right.
so glad I saw it on HBO Max and not actually seen it in the theater. Like, give that movie any more money than it already should, be
Yeah, I
made.
saw
But
it on
anyway,
HBO Max too. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, it was this was an interesting year. Next year, I'm sure, well, this year itself should be a pretty cool year. We've got a lot of great movies. I mean, I already saw Megan and a few other things that have just come out, and I can't wait to continue to watch things. I think it's going to be a great year. And so I hope
A
you
lot of good
guys
horror
enjoyed it.
stuff. Yeah.
A lot of good horror coming out already. I mean, we're filling our times with that. A lot of superhero stuff still happening. But once again, we'll be doing a superhero show episode with me, John, and our buddy Donald. We're all going to be talking about, superhero stuff. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. So with that, I'll let you guys go, and I might leave a link down at the bottom for the superhero show, so you guys can check that out and see kind of more our arguments or our thoughts. We might
Well,
be agreement on a lot
and
of
I'll do the
things.
same. So when I put up the superhero one, I'll leave a link to this since we do talk about superhero stuff.
Yeah, There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, everybody, have a good one and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye, everybody.